Welcome to Artin with Barrie. I'm Barrie Foster, Director of the Tipton County Museum, Veterans Memorial and Nature Center in Covington, Tennessee. This is part 2 of our series of videos with artist-in-residence Richard Reed, where he is exploring visual design. In this video, Richard talks about rule of thirds, composition, and balance.
Now, I mentioned that sometimes rules are bent. This is a photograph, and if you'll notice, it has the even number of people. But it's very well-known painting, very valuable. But I brought this up to illustrate something else. There's something called the rule of thirds. I'd like to explain that. In your composition, you get a straight edge and you divide your painting horizontally into thirds and vertically into thirds. You're going to end up with a point where these lines intersect, a point where these intersect, these, and these. I don't have the numbers written down, but it's somewhere around 43% of, according to statistics, when you look at this particular painting, your eye goes to this spot on the painting. And then the next spot is down the lower left, and it's like 20-some%, and then up here perhaps a little bit less than 20. And this is, but these areas are good areas, any of them, to put something that you want the viewer to look at, whether it's someone's head or whether it's an eye in a portrait, or if it's a certain leaf on a tree that you want to, or a branch that you want to stand out. Whatever you were doing, the rule of thirds would apply. And you can see that in this particular painting. If you look at it for a little bit, this may be a photograph, photograph, not painting. I'm going to take a straight edge. Bear with me 1 second. And rule of thirds is very commonly used in photography. So if you Google it, you'll get as much information or more on photography as you do on painting. But if you look, you can see that the photographer in this case purposely placed his viewfinder so that those two where you post in the middle sort of line up, and also certain elements going horizontally do that as well. And so what I have found, and it's not something that I've just come up with myself, but artists, myself on occasion, when I'm outside in the looking for a composition, I just don't pick something and haphazardly, well, that's a pretty composition, and start painting it. I'll take, in this case, this is a slide was in this. I'll take this and hold this slide up and arrange it, move it around till I get a composition that is pleasing. And when you do move it around, then that gives you You can't do that without being able to, now some people will just take their fingers and do that, but this is something I come across. And so over here on this particular painting, you can see that if I wanted to make a smaller painting, you can see what would happen if I wanted to include more of the sky and less of
That
the...
totally changes that painting,
It
totally.
does, it
Yes.
does. Or coming down in this case, or if I wanted to move it over to this or up into this. So these are handy things to remember when you're trying to come up with
Little
a composition.
tricks and tools.
Okay, balance is important, and so here's a case where we have a picture of 3 gentlemen and their dog, but the dog is not quite as important. And so you may say, well, that sort of looks out of balance because there's 2 on one side and 1 on the other. But you sort of think about the fact that this is a group. And if this group was here and this man wasn't, it would be out of balance. It would feel like it would want to turn this way. But actually, this one guy with his backpack or whatever he has on is going to balance that out, and that's going to.
And also, he's standing forward. I don't know how well.
Yeah, and that by being a little bit larger, being a little bit taller, the weight.
Yeah,
exactly.
balances.
So getting back to this one, I told you I would come back to. We pointed out earlier that this was a problem. That this should have been moved up or moved down. The other problem is that the technique done on the top is totally different than the technique on the bottom. This involves a lot of washes and loose painting, and this is just the color slapped on the.
I use the term incongruent. Some people say homogeneous or not homogeneous, but yes, you don't have the same treatment throughout the painting. And it almost looks like it's 2 different paintings.
Okay, and so what did I mention a while ago? The word unity, because this is different from this, then it's lacking that unity. In this little sketch, we do have 3 rather than an even number, but if this was a still life, Barrie, I'm just going to put you on the spot, okay? And I'm one of your students, and you're critiquing.
And I'm one of your students.
Okay, and I'm critiquing, you're critiquing my still life.
I'm critiquing that, and that's a still life. Well, first of all 3 objects are floating, but I would say you would want I would suggest a little overlap. But I think you do have some unity in the fact that you've treated them all as far as the colors running through. I can see some green here that's also over there and in the background. Normally what you do is you try to point out several good things about a painting instead of just tearing it apart and saying this, and this is wrong. But there's not a lot of visual interest because all 3 are similar in their shape and size. So I would suggest maybe, like the gentleman, have 2 off to the side and maybe 1 bigger in the front, something like that, or you could have a little overlap.
That's great. And in my notes, I mentioned the fact that there is they are floating. they're all pretty much the same size. That's not a good thing. They all have pretty much the same spacing between them. Now, the technique, you're talking about the different colors, technique may be okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But the composition is not okay. Maybe one of them should be larger, one of them in front, one of them off the side, but it's not interesting. There's nothing interesting about this that excites everyone. So you take and add one piece maybe, which in this case, you do have an even number, but you sort of don't think about that so much.
It doesn't feel like it.
But yeah, it doesn't feel like it, and you could very easily insert something else in there. But the fact is that there's different sizes and different shapes in this. This is the overlapping really adds to the composition. It's more visually stimulating, I would think.
Yes.